that Bruce will be speaking to the media tomorrow. It's the usual press conference, which happens, of course, in the build-up to the weekend's games. How do you think that's going to go down with the supporters, knowing that that's going to carry on as normal, it would seem?
Well, I think just from what I'm reading already on Twitter, you've got a mixture of reactions. Some are devastated because Steve Bruce does really, he's one of Ashley's appointments. He marks the end of a very dark time for the club, and we're trying to move on from that. But then again, we do have to take our time. You know, one of the main things that we've all been saying is patience is key here. So it's not going to change overnight. We all have to accept that. Although it does almost dampen things on Sunday. We've got big plans in place. The supporters groups are getting involved. Flags are coming back to the stadium. There's a massive push for all Newcastle fans to wear black and white on Sunday. So having that lasting memory of the Ashley era hanging around like one of your ex's old pieces of clothing, that's pretty much where we're at with it. But we do accept that it's going to take time. I can't see him being here until the end of the season because I think that would be disastrous for the new ownership, because the way the team is going, unless we get some serious changes coming in January, we might see some miracles happening. I can't see it. So, you know, I don't think any fan would expect Steve Bruce to be in charge. You look at what happened to Mark Hughes at Man City. He hung around for a little bit longer, but he didn't stay forever. So it's more of a case of more a case of when and not if Steve Bruce remains in charge. It's just, to quote Steve Bruce himself, Newcastle are ticking along to when the new manager comes in or whatever plans are going to be there.
It's a shame because he is a Newcastle United fan himself. He's been a fan of the club and in 60 years of his life, and I'm sure he only wants the best for the club moving forward. So maybe the fans might just have to realise that as well.
I'm sure he does, but you know, it's a difficult one, really, because, you know, this Newcastle fan gets thrown around all the time. Yeah, he managed Sunderland. I gave Steve Bruce a chance at the start. I thought he had a thankless task of following in the footsteps of Rafa Benitez, who got the club. Steve Bruce came in under a dark cloud. That cloud has got ever larger throughout. And yes, I know that a lot of that is to do with who were in charge prior to this. Mike Ashley appointing a yes man, as many fans will say. But now we really need to have a full clear out. Steve Bruce is part of the rot that has set in the last 14 years. He's been there right at the end of it, and some might say that is when it's been at its worst. So, you know, for the sake of, I think, the atmosphere going forward, if it stays there on Sunday, if he's there on Sunday, fine. But don't expect Newcastle fans to be as forgiving as that because we've suddenly been taken over. We remember what's been said. We remember all of the gaffes and the bad words in press conferences, some of which might still come out on Friday. But to talk us down so very often, week in, week out, even if the fans have decided to give them a chance one week, perhaps if we've beaten Leicester 4-2, and then to come out and say that the fans still expect too much, time's run out. We said this a long time ago. Now it's just a case of saying, look, your bags are there and we're ready to see.